it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass.
Hey, welcome to the Really Charlie Podcast. I'm Charlie Perry, and tonight's guest is Daryl Lopes, a.k.a. the DL. This man is inspirational to me for a very, very long time, a dear friend, and this is his music in the background. You know, look at that, man. That's just something about this dude. He always had a knack about doing things. Music was one of the things that he did best, man, and I love it. So Come on. We got some answers, some questions, anything. Bring it to the Really Charlie Podcast and come see my fine guest, Daryl Lopes. All right, we're gonna get into his craft right now. He's been doing this for decades. So come on, come join us. All right. Oh yes, man. That is something about that, man. You just hit it. You hit it right, man. That music is awesome, man.
Appreciate
Everyone.
That.
Yeah. This is my friend, man. My friend. I finally got him on here thanks to Tony DePina, my man. He's my ace. Yeah, one of my aces, and he should be on and joining us hopefully, and give us some comments and everything. So let me just make sure this is live and public on Facebook so we can get the right people on here. You know, we are on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook Live. So I want to make sure that everybody's in tune for this great show. I put my money on this show. That is going to be awesome, man. So let's see. The one thing I noticed that I knew about you is you always involved with music, but tell me when it first started with you. When did you get inspired?
Man, to be honest, it's always that thing where you go back to, well, you know, my father and my mother played music and all this other stuff. But I remember there was a career day at Kearney Academy. I think I was in kindergarten, and it was me and Kevin Antunes.
Nice.
And we got interviewed, and we had to do like those shoebox little displays. And I did one with the Jackson 5. I think he had the Jackson 5 as well. And we actually got into the Standard Times, and they asked us what we wanted to be when we got older. And it was kind of like, well, I wanted to be a singer. You know, I can't sing a lick, but I wanted to be a singer.
Yep.
You know, so it started back then, you know, as early as that. And me and Kevin Antunes used to be like thick as thieves, and we would be at his house playing 45s. We made up a radio station and would record ourselves. And it was like WABCD, and we said the whole alphabet kind of thing. And then we put on some Slave or, you know, Aqua Boogie, whatever it was. And
nice.
Just back from then, I've always had this thing for music. Music has been almost like my calmness, my peace, my happiness, my joy. I've just always enjoyed music, and I was fortunate that my father had crazy albums. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, of course. In Bedford, you got to listen to Tavares and just all that stuff. So it's been since I was a child that I've had this thing for music. Never knew how I was going to get into it or express it, but I've had that since I was a young child.
That now that you mentioned Antunes, that in itself is inspirational, right? And that's your boy, that's your dude, man. And that's nice to hear, you know, especially because I think that's another podcast in itself. So we got to talk about that, you know.
I got a bunch of names for you. It's craziness. I don't think at the time, because we were just kids, we were teenagers, we didn't have an appreciation for the musical history or legacy that was being built in New Bedford. Between the Antunes family, the Tavares family, there was the Pina family. There was a bunch of just talent that was in New Bedford. When your intro came on, and your
Yep.
intro is fire, by the way.
Thank you.
When your intro came on, I saw my cousin Russell Ramus.
Mm.
He used to be the DJ at I think it was USM at the time,
Yep.
at
Yep.
University of Southeastern Massachusetts University. He actually played one of our first songs. It was me, Beatbox Paul Cruz, Ryan Tavares. We had a little group called ourselves the New School. He played our song. It was called "Love Me or Leave Me," something like that, something crazy. So seeing him, and then one of the first bands I was in was with Tony DePina and Joe Varela, and I saw you had a little snippet with Joe Varela too. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is great. But there is a whole musical history and legacy that exists in New Bedford, and I don't think people really understood what was being developed. And so, thank you for listening to my project. But that was the whole point of Chronicles of a Latchkey Kid from New Bedford. That whole concept was me trying to express how music was for me when I was a kid and how I kind of got that start.
That's awesome. I'm trying to share this on your page, and it seems like it's not going. But let's try it again. All right. I think it's there, but the it's you mentioned Latchkey, right? I have someone that works for me, and that was our icebreaker, our conversation. Driving a bus, he's my monitor, and we started talking about that, and it's amazing that's such a good conversation, and him and I coming from two different backgrounds, and boom, we hit it off from that conversation on, and so let me go back a little ways, right? Way back when things were nice, and we were at a school that was full of good vibes. There was everyone got along. There wasn't too much friction, and so what the school decided to do was do a talent show at New Bedford High School. And I remember that. And I remember that night that people got together, and they were all, even you mentioned Joe Varela, he's dancing, and I laugh at him because I look at him and I say, Joe, I said, champ, man, you can still fit in your high school pants,
Ain't that crazy?
Hey, you know what he said? He said, yeah, I can. I still got some. I couldn't believe it. I laughed. But do you remember those talent shows and different things that you were involved in? Do you have any inspirational moments or something that really set out or really kind of hit you that you still talk about to this day?
I think one of the things that I talk about is got to give a shout out to, he might not like this, but I'm gonna call him by his name, Eddie Hunter, because that's how I know him. Eddie Hunter.
Yes.
Edward blends to everyone else. But you remember those it was like the Friday after school discos or whatever, and I remember hearing like More Bounce to the Ounce just from Zap. That was Eddie was like the DJ for me. And he was playing all that stuff. You'd see him at the block parties at the Elks. He had the Crazy Bose cassette player. Everybody wanted one, but you couldn't have one unless you were a DJ kind of thing. It was times like that. And even for, and I'm going to go a little further back because I left Massachusetts the end of 8th grade for me, and then went to North Carolina to live with my mom for a bit. And I didn't come back until the junior year of high school here in New Bedford. So I missed a period of time when when music was really picking up. And before that, I used to live on Potter Street. Shout out to Nancy Sylvia, Dory Lynn, April Montero. But back then on Potter Street, it was like on weekends, we would get together, go outside. Everybody had roller skates, and we were basically preparing ourselves for Saturday night R&B night at Hot Wheels.
Yes.
and it was this vibe where, everybody in the summer, like parents would have their screen doors open, somebody's blasting music at night, and we were just having a good time playing release, hide and go seek, and, whatever we were doing. But even then, the music was the thing, so you went to Hot Wheels and you had those jams and you're roller skating and, hoping to dance on the couple skate. And then you'd front, like, if no girl wanted to skate with you, you act like, well, I wanted to play video games anyway. And you go jump on the fence. But it was like even back then. And that was the point of Hot Wheels Saturday night, because that was a big thing for me. And I remember he passed a long time ago, Gary Robertson.
Yes.
And he would get all of us out there, and he was just really, really cool with roller skating, and he was like one of the kids in the project, and just like you just wanted to be like him. And I remember like all these people, and it was always music around, so it wasn't necessarily just the talent shows, because I did miss some of them. When I came back here, there was a couple of talent shows, and prior to that, we had done some other talent shows, like at the Verdian Vets. When I was in the band with Tony and Joe, I think I was in college at the time, so that would have been like 87, 88 or whatever. We even performed at United Social Club. Man, to be truthful, we stunk. We were horrible. But it was a learning process. We were writing songs and all this other stuff. So there's like all these things and people that were involved. And, I keep jumping back to it, man. For me personally, there's this whole history and legacy of music in New Bedford. Like, I still have it somewhere. It's a picture of my kindergarten class.
Yep.
And Kevin's in it, Ryan's in it, I was in it, Frankie Lobo was in it, Debbie James was in it, I think, Karen Gomes was in it. And we would literally get up, on Fridays, I think it was on Fridays, they would let us like put, Hotline by the Silvers on, and we would get up there and dance and sing along with the record.
Nice.
So there's all these, just, it's always been music, especially in New Bedford. I don't think New Bedford ever truly gotten its proper recognition for the pool of talent that existed there, that grew up there, that flourished there, and then moved on to other things. And then, after a while, there's still this musical legacy that exists that I don't think a lot of people really appreciate or know about.
So true. You had mentioned about Gary, Gary and my cousin Kyle Grace.
Yes, Kyle had the mad skates. He had the best skates, and he could do that whole split with the skates.
He's still doing it. He's in fact, I gotta call him this week. But his stories are crazy too. I mean, every time I get with him, he just tells me a different story.
Yep.
And all we do is laugh, and it always leads to Hot Wheels. It always leads to one of the gatherings, one of the 3-day affairs, or something like that.
So let me tell you this. All right.
Yep.
So you remember how we had like the Miss Verdian Vet, Miss Verdian Vet? What, I can't remember.
The Verdian Vet. Yeah.
Monty's Park. They had that little store there that had the video games in there. To the club.
Snack Shack.
Yes.
Yes.
And so funny story. After one of those events, you remember Owella Way?
Yeah.
And then across the street was the synagogue.
Yes.
Across the street, diagonal from Owella Way, there was a open field with a house, and a DJ set up over there, and he was playing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I was probably 12 years old at the time, and I met this girl. I didn't know where she was from. And we just danced and we talked, and I had the best time of my life. Hence, West End boy, South End girl.
Yep.
And it's just, the memories, the things that you think of, and the music that you might have been listening to at that time. That was one of the things for me, So I had to, try to capture that. I didn't do a really good job of explaining the purpose of the EP, me putting that out.
Yeah.
Because there's a story for every single song. So we already talked about Hot Wheels Saturday Night. I just told you about West End boy, South End girl. Because back in the day, there was a distinction between West End and South End, whatever. But you could still freely travel across,
Exactly.
And you could date somebody from the South End, date somebody from the West End, and all that other stuff. And so it was a vibe back then. It was just like cool, and you could walk freely about New Bedford, and that whole thing. And then binging MTV.
Mhm.
MTV first came out, playing music videos. I would be in school all day saying rock music stinks, R&B is the way to go, and then go
Mhm.
home and just sit in front of the TV and watch MTV until it was time to go to bed. What's the other one? And the Ice Crew. I
Yes.
I was here for the sort of the beginning of Ice Crew, but I missed a good portion of it. But you had to respect the Ice Crew, because from the Ice Crew, I really believe that the Ice Crew really shaped a lot of the things that were happening in New
Mhm.
Bedford and what people did from then on. Because I mean,
Yes.
you had Eddie as the DJ, you had George as the crazy MC,
Yep.
and then George was at one point in time, I think he was doing stuff with Beatbox Paul, who I ended up getting with in high school, and me and Paul did some productions together, or tried to put some productions
Yeah.
together. So like there's this whole thing, and then you had Scott and Hector who was in it. They went on to the Funky Bunch, but they had, what was it? Special Touch.
Yes. Yep.
Special
I
Touch.
remember that.
I came back and caught the end of Special Touch when things would change. But that was so cool. It was just so cool, and like everybody had this talent, and it didn't matter if it was rapping, dancing, singing, playing an instrument. Everybody could just get together on that.
It's so
You
true.
know.
The now the Ice Crew, like George is one of my first friends
Hmm.
in life. We lived on Purchase Street
Hmm.
um at a very young age. And so I'll never forget when he started wearing all the B-box, and he was like sitting down right in his house. He's teaching me how to put the laces on the Puma, my Pumas, right?
The Pumas, yes.
But he, if I'm correct, he was Adidas guy. Well, anyway, so he's telling me, no, I wasn't into that. I love watching them dudes,
Yeah.
As much as I tried to pop lock, I couldn't do it. And
Yeah.
but they were just, there was something about them, and it's
Hmm.
like you said, when they started doing their thing, people started mimicking them
Yep.
and starting to realize and starting to look into hip hop and what's
Yep.
going on, and it's and that's another crew, I try to get together, and dates, and everyone gets older, everyone has responsibilities, but I would love
Yeah.
to see the Ice Crew on here.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted to go back to when you mentioned about Russell, right?
Yeah.
Russell and I, we did our show on WNB1 radio,
Hmm.
and we were playing music. But the best conversations him and I had was not on the air, it was backstage or sitting and we're talking about different things.
Yep.
His memory is unbelievable. And
Yeah.
it just, and the things he remembers, the people he dealt with, the people that didn't want to deal with him. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and it's, they missed out on somebody
Yeah.
that would give his all in all, and
Hmm.
but he still had his handwritten notes from the radio station
Wow.
and his playlist and stuff he would play. And I'm like, look, you need to create something. Put all that music on Spotify, man. That would be an outstanding playlist.
Oh yeah.
So, but I just want to mention to him that I mentioned to you about him and the craziness and all the different people that he was attached to.
Hmm.
Um, and he's definitely, when it comes to music and some of the history that he knows, it's amazing. So,
Yeah.
but
And
we had,
he's a natural born storyteller.
yeah, he is,
You give him a platform and let him talk. Just let him talk,
mhm.
and you'll learn some things. You'll learn some things.
And I always told him to like, he has his YouTube channel, but it doesn't. He's not on it enough, and I
Mhm.
wish he could.
Yeah.
But he has some other responsibilities that stop him from doing a lot
Yeah.
of his creativity, including acting. And
Oh yeah. Yeah.
he's been in Hocus Pocus.
Mhm.
He's definitely Equalizer. He's got credit for that. So
Yeah.
definitely a star in the city, and a lot of people don't know it,
Yeah.
and they should.
I can agree
Um,
with.
so you start right. you're creating things. Is it on a regular basis, or what are you doing it whenever
So
you
it's been kind of like this up and down thing. Like I was so not, I don't want to say obsessed, but I was kind of chasing, the dream kind of thing. I
mm-hmm,
wanted to have some success, and I had some ideas on how I wanted to do things. I've always believed in collaboration. Collaboration is the best way to do things. And in the music business, lots of times people don't want to collaborate. There's no money involved. You're just trying to create something, and they're already talking about money and fighting. It's like the money's not on the table. Let's put some stuff together and try to get it out there. And we've had some opportunities. There was for a time I was working with AJ, Brent, and Brandon Tavares. They had a group,
mm-hmm,
definitely. I was doing their production. I grew a lot musically as a songwriter and as a producer, working with them, and they're part of that Tavares legacy. Just the natural ability to sing and harmonize and put in the practice and the effort. These boys were extremely, extremely talented. But with the ups and downs, you have like the good times, you have the disappointments, you have the points where you get so close, to you think you're gonna break into the business, and then it doesn't happen. You got 100,000 people trying to break into the music business, and only 10 can be successful. So, unfortunately, it didn't work out for me, and maybe in some ways it was fortunate, but I had to get away from it for a while, and so I tried to find
mm-hmm.
another replace it. Got into computers and all this other stuff, but I can't escape music. I can't. If I'm not playing it, if I'm not trying to create it, I'm listening to it. And
Yeah.
I love the old school music. I absolutely love the old school music. And I think, what you're doing, I think there's an opportunity, get the Ice Crew. If you can get Scott Ross and Hector Barros on here, get them on here. Let them talk. If you can get Kevin Antunes, if you can get Troy Antunes, if you can get Derek Antunes,
Mm-hmm.
get Matt Antunes, actually, you know who you need to get on? Jeff Barros. Get Jeff Barros.
Yes. I
He's one of the guys that got me inspired to try to put this out. Kevin got me motivated because he actually put a project out. So if you go on Spotify or whatever, search for Kevin Antunes, he's got an album. He's sang on that thing. He produced it, he wrote it, he did the whole thing, and he's got the best album cover ever. It's a picture his mom took of him in front of like a record player or whatever when he was little, which inspired me to put my picture.
Yeah.
my in there.
Actually, that's not the first time I seen that picture. I don't know whose house I was in, but I seen your picture, just that exact picture somewhere.
Yeah, that was at my grandmother's house. That was at my grandmother's house on Park Street.
Yeah,
had that up. But okay, here's I'm not trying to sell you on this, but this is what I want to do at some point, someday, somehow, whatever. A podcast called The Music That Made Me. And I just want to be able to put up a couple of songs and have a group of people from back in the day talk about those songs and what those songs meant, what those songs did, where they were, how did they feel, just have conversations about music, because music was so good back then.
Yeah,
just
sure was
so good.
Yep. I remember just listening to all the local music and and the people that inspired us. And you said about, you talked about the old music, and one was Blue Magic, which reminded me of my father.
Yes.
Stylistics,
Yes. Stylistics.
So, but every now and then, and now you picture this, right? You got a picture window in the Bay Village. My grandmother had her old Finger Hut stereo that had the turntable, the 8-track player that you could press 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So we always had something with the device, right? That was always. So I put the 8-track in, and I'm looking out the window, and so it was sort of like sitting behind a DJ table, right? The turntables and everything, and just singing those songs.
Yep.
And so this past year, they went in and dedicated Tavares Brothers Way.
Yep.
Along, the cemetery and the Gomes School and everything.
Yep.
Long overdue.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
And I gotta, with Counselor Derek Baptiste working on it hard, and the other counselors finally getting that done. I really appreciate it. Um, and it should have been done a long time ago.
Yeah.
When you and I were 18, that's when it should have been done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so to get back to my story, so we're out there on Tavares Way. So I'm looking, and I look across the way. It's the Bay Village where my grandmother's house was, and that's where
Mhm.
So I'm listening to the music, and then I got a visual of me in that window, singing
Yeah.
everything. Heaven Must Be Missing an Angel. Check It Out
Yeah.
was one of my favorites.
Oh
It's still
my
my
God.
favorite.
Check it. I will, if I put my headphones on and put
Yeah.
Check It Out on, I'm checked out. You can't tell
Yeah.
me nothing. I am just in my glory. That song is amazing. It evokes emotion. It is
Mhm.
powerful. And then
Yes.
the thing, it's like, I met these guys.
Hmm.
I know their
Yeah.
family. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And especially like when well, I'll give you a quick story. So me seeing the Tavares album, and
Mhm.
remember the one that had Capitol Records on it, right?
Yep.
So now 1980, my mom decides we're moving to LA. So as we're moving and grooving and riding around different over the years, I see the Capitol building for the first time. I'm like, oh my God. So not thinking about the Capitol building, I want to say Tavares building because that was, it
Yeah.
was on the album.
Yep.
So, but that's my story.
And you're sticking to
So
it.
yeah, I'm sticking to it, man. It's marvelous.
All right.
The
So my favorite Tavares
good.
song, my favorite
Yep.
Tavares song is there's a duet that they did with Frida Payne. She had that song Band of Gold.
Mm,
Can't remember what album it was, but it's I think it's entitled I Want to See You Real Soon. That is my happy song. You need to listen to that song. When you get the chance, go on YouTube, find Tavares, Frida Payne, I Want to See You Soon.
I
That
sure
song is
will.
amazing. I love that song. Love that song.
I sure will. I'm gonna definitely. Can't remember that one. Um, another one is Strangers and Dot Connors. That was one of my favorites.
Yep.
Um, and their music still inspire me, along with
Yeah.
all the other songs that we're talking about
Yeah.
when I'm writing my poetry.
Mm.
And it's like, and I just go with the flow and just listen to that R&B music.
Yep.
And people like we can appreciate it, we understand it, we it's like, oh my God, there's nothing like it,
Mhm.
right? Guess what? Know who felt that same way, and they produced something, and it took an old head to inspire them, and that was Silk Sonic. When their
Yes.
album came out, oh
Oh
my
my
God.
goodness. Do you know that they actually went out and got the actual like exact instruments that were being used when songs like that were being recorded in like the 70s? Like they
Wow.
made sure they used the same type of equipment, the same bass strings, the same type of bass, guitar, Rhodes. They went the whole way through to get that sound. And it was
Mhm.
just like it was mind-blowing. And then what makes it worse? What makes it worse is we put this distance between ourselves and some of the older music, but then they come out and people think it's like a brand new sound, and then it just blows up.
Exactly.
Everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. It's like, nah,
Exactly.
we've been listening to this stuff for so long.
We've been telling you that, and then you kind of go back and you say, no, this came from this cut, this album. It was this artist, and they say,
Yep.
no. But hey, there's somebody right there, Gordon Woodbury, my man.
Gordon, what's up,
Yes.
bro? Gordon was. I see now. Now I feel bad because Gordon was in that mix with all
Yep.
them groups back then. When I came
Mhm.
back, Gordon just like it, dude. Special Touch was smooth. I have to
Yeah.
admit, I was slightly jealous. I wasn't one to get up there, start dancing, couldn't sing. Wanted to do some music, but Special Touch was special. We have to
they
admit.
were.
We need to
They
admit.
were. There was believe it or not, they had their little groupies, man.
I bet they did.
Oh, they had it was like, are you kidding me? And
Yep.
I don't know if they were handing out autographs, man. We gotta
I
find
wouldn't have
that
been
out,
surprised.
man.
I would have been surprised.
Mm-mm.
No. So
Nope.
Gordon, and there were some other heads that were around back then. Johnny Stewart
Johnny
was around
Stewart.
like him.
Giscombe.
Charlie Russo.
Yep, Charlie Rougeau.
Yep.
Giscombe. Was with Johnny Stewart and them. It was all my brother's friends. Oh
Curtis
my God.
Cruz.
Curtis. Yep. The thinking one other person. Oh my God. Oh my God. What's his name? Oh man. I don't want to be. He hung with Porsche, Timmy Porsche, and
Timmy
them.
Porsche. Oh man.
I got Paxson. Pax. What's it? Oh my, white dude. Sorry, don't be the. I can't think of his name. Oh my
I
God.
can't either. I can't.
All right,
Man.
I have
That's
to
just,
think about it.
hopefully the name comes up. No,
Yeah.
no disrespect. No disrespect. We hope the name comes up.
Well,
Hopefully
give a
one of us-
shout out to Timmy Pina. My
Yep.
man.
Yep.
Gerald Walker. What's up, man? My man. I seen him this past summer. I was like, oh my God. It's like, you look good. Another one that looks good, man. Well, Gerald, you're doing good things, man. You look well, man. Awesome.
Awesome.
So go ahead.
Also, some other people. I know she wasn't from New Bedford, but Danielle Andrews,
Yes. Yeah.
Monique Peoples,
Mm-hmm.
they did the Shades thing, and they're back out doing
Yeah.
stuff now. So we need to respect and pay attention to what they're doing.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna call out Jeff Barrows one more time because he told me he's been working on some stuff and he's supposed to be putting something out, and I haven't seen it yet. So I'm waiting on you, Jeff. You got me to put my stuff out, Jeff. I'm waiting for you.
I'm gonna reach out to him because you know what? Now that you said that, next Tuesday I got an opening, so maybe he can fill in and we can get him on here.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, he's we just talked, every time I think of well, anytime the Raiders are playing, I think of Jeff, right?
Yeah.
And
They are synonymous.
Yeah. And then it's so weird that that's my dude, man. There's another one that hasn't changed, and but he's a history buff too, when it comes to different things. He just spits things out naturally. Gordon's another one. Gordon just comes out with stuff 1, 2, 3, like like anything. And that's another storyteller, Gordon. His stories are great.
Another one for getting on your podcast, Mark Buddha Pyers, one of the baddest drummers on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
That boy needs to spill the tea. He needs to give up some secrets. He needs to talk. We need to hear from Mark Pyers.
I just it was his buddy Sean, I think his name was. We were talking about Buddha, and it was the guy just he's a stranger. We just met, and then he brings up Buddha. I said, the only one I know is Buddha is Mark Price. And he's like, yeah. And he says, we went to high school together. I'm like, but I didn't remember the dude. I don't I remember Buddha, and walking around and doing his thing. And, his hair was all crazy. He was the first guy to look like Animal before Animal came out on the Muppets.
But Mark was in a band. It was him, Troy Antunes, this keyboard player from Rhode Island, Mike Sahajian, Mark Cheroux, white guy. He could sing. And Sharice Arrington, a friend of mine, she was from Chicago. They had a band called Best Kept Secret, and I would follow them around like a groupie to all their shows. And I became better at songwriting, music, and production because of hanging with top tier musicians and singers. I mean, Troy Antunes on bass singing Johnny Gill, Rub You the Right Way, mind blowing. Just so much talent in New Bedford, man. So much talent in the surrounding areas. Like for a while, I felt like New Bedford was this music hub because I would literally have people come to me from out of town and say, hey, Daryl, can you listen to my demo? And I was like, who am I? Aren't you Daryl from New Bedford? You've been working with. I'm like, how do you know? Because people were coming through New Bedford and seeing like all this talent that existed and seeing groups come out and doing shows. Ryan had a group with his cousins, Umoja.
Yeah.
I had the privilege of working with them and doing some songs with them. We had a couple of tracks that were fire. But it was fun. You know what I'm saying? It was fun.
I'll tell you a quick story, right? They were this was a discussion and I can't remember where it came from, but could you imagine, right? Everybody associated with the state of Massachusetts, if they stood home and Boston became the hub of their creativity and their recording. You
Mhm.
think about New Kids on the Block, New Edition. You think yourself. You think everybody, everyone that came from Massachusetts, whether it's a singer, backup singer, if they just stood in this hub and what it would have done for the state
Yeah.
and the city, right?
Yep.
Would have been good. New Edition, one of all-time greats,
Yeah.
right from here, right from the
Yep.
projects, eating blocks of cheese, this is the type of people they were.
Yep.
And I just imagine a little mecca we would have had, and
Yeah.
talk about Motown and all that stuff. But
Yep.
we had those right in the state. And so the Dow, why don't you tell me a quick story? Anything off your mind.
Quick
Something you
story.
want to share with everybody.
Quick story. Um. All right. I can't remember her last name. She was from New Bedford. Her name's Amelia. I hate that I can't remember
Amelia
her last.
Moore? Amelia Moore?
I think so. I think so.
About she's about 5'10", maybe. Lived
No,
in the
she's
South
definitely taller
End,
than you.
Purchase
Yeah.
Street.
She ended up working for Atlantic Records.
Amelia Moore. That's who it is.
She got definitely smooth in the door, and we actually had an interview with Kevin Woodley from Atlantic Records, the guy who was A&R rep at that time, had put
Hmm.
out I can't remember their name. What's the name of the group? It was three guys. It's gonna kill me that I can't remember the name of it. They were super popular,
Hmm.
and we thought we had the best thing, and he just couldn't see what Definitely Smooth was. That
Wow.
that that messed me up. But we were that close, like because you can't just walk into a record company, and Amelia wasn't gonna just like let anybody go up there,
Hmm.
and and she took a chance on us, and so we appreciated that. Actually, Amelia invited me, Paul, and Ryan to her place with her husband in New Jersey, and that's where we recorded that song "Love Me or Leave Me" that Russell
Hmm.
Ramus played on the radio station
Yep.
for us. So that was yeah.
She's
I
she's actually
know
doing
her.
something right now. She's
Yeah,
yeah. I hope I know she's on my page and
yeah,
on Facebook. So hopefully she's listening and but she's always been um a go getter.
yeah,
She always want if she felt that she had something on her bucket list, it wasn't going to last too long. She was about
yeah.
to go get it, and she did. Um,
And it's yeah.
Russell Ramus interviewed her on a podcast.
Oh wow.
That's somewhere in the archives. I don't know where. I have to find that. Send it to you.
Please,
Um,
please. But she was
yeah,
super kind. She let it like we spent the weekend at her place. She let these three kids from New Bedford stay with her. And dude, okay, so here's another side story. Another side story for that song "Love Me or Leave Me."
yep.
She let me like sit in her studio. They had like a little room separate. She had an MPC. It was the first time I had ever got to touch an MPC. She had an MPC, and I think it was a Juno keyboard. And I did the whole track on that. And it was just, she helped me in my creative process to get better. And I keep forgetting about that because I was literally in that room by myself and I just started putting that track together. Then Ryan and Paul came in, they started writing. She helped us with the hook. And I think Ryan sang lead, Ryan and Paul sang the backgrounds, and we thought we had the biggest hit on the planet.
Hmm.
It was awesome. It was awesome. But yeah, Amelia, if you ever see this, thank you. Thank you for being
Yeah.
me. Appreciate you.
She's a book in itself, and I
Yeah.
hope one day she does decide to write something, or at least
Mhm.
put it in video, some kind of documentary or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
because her stories are great. I just Russell interviewed her, and he did a great job with her. So,
Mhm.
but she's doing some kind of production, and but I think it's on stage. I can't remember what it is. So I'm not gonna go ahead and say anything, but she is involved with something right now on the screen, and
Wow.
so the
That's awesome.
what it when you were doing a lot of the things, a lot of the productions and trying to um just say songwriting, right?
Mhm.
Songwriting is something that I always wanted to do, and I have the poetry part,
Mhm.
and my cousin Kristen had passed away in 24,
Mhm.
and she was producing. She was nominated and actually receiving a Grammy, done a lot of things.
Wow.
So she asked me to recite some poetry before her in the beginning parts of her song, and I did
Mhm.
that. So one of the things we always talked about is her teaching me how to write songs. And I said,
Mhm.
"Yeah, I'd like to do that." And then things happened for the
Yeah.
worse, and she got cancer and
Mhm.
everything. So
I'm so
that
sorry.
is something I always wanted to talk about.
Mhm.
Now, when you were writing music and writing songs, was that something taught to you, or you just had it? How did that work out for you?
I think it was more of I've always wanted to express myself, and I used to write a little bit of poetry, but I
Yeah.
would write what I thought in my mind were song lyrics. And you just look at a basic structure and say, all right, these lines rhyme, and this is what I want to say. And so you do it over time. But I think what really helps to craft people as songwriters is life experience and association. So I had the privilege of working with like Sharice Arrington. She was an amazing singer, songwriter, could come up with melodies. I worked with AJ Brent and Brandon Tavares. They were developing the same time I was developing, so we helped each other. So you listen to songs for so much. You for yourself, if you wanted to say, well, how do I become a songwriter? You're probably already a songwriter. You just don't know it because you didn't know what
Hmm.
parts you needed to look for. So I
Yes.
looked at some of your poetry, some of the lines, and you've got some deep lines. But songs
Thank you.
always have to have some sort of structure along with a hook. So
Hmm.
if you just listen to the music that you love, find the songs that you love the most, think about the lyrics and the melodies and like why do you like them so much? Why does this particular song evoke an emotion in you, but this one doesn't? Go back
Hmm.
to the songs that you like and then listen to it. Like you can actually time out or figure out, well, this verse is 8 bars, but then they have like this 4 bar, what we'll say is a B section that leads into the chorus. And then the chorus
Yes.
happens for 8 bars. And then they have like a little breakdown of 4 bars after, then that leads into the verse. So what is about those elements that you like? What were they saying? Was it really the words or was it the melody? Or maybe
Hmm.
for you, it was more of the words and not the melody. But
Yeah.
find the elements of songs that you like and listen to them and really pay attention to what it does to your heart. And you'll be able to write some things. Because if you look like a lot of the songs that you really, really feel something for, you'll find out that the penmanship, we'll say, for the songwriting ability was somebody's emotion. It was really a song about, did you ever see that movie with the Temptations, about the Temptations? I think
Hmm.
it's called Temptations. So you remember when they were in the studio, they're recording, and they were recording Papa is a Rolling Stone. Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
And the guy wrote that stuff about that guy's father to make him mad,
Hmm.
and to make him sing it that way. So he took that guy's personal experience, put it on paper, and then made him sing it and got the performance out of him because he could actually feel it.
Hmm.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So when you hear stories like that, it's kind of like, okay, wow. And if you do the research on some songs and you like the story of this particular song, you
Hmm.
find out that there's some sort of history there that is about something,
Yeah.
you
That's
know?
what me and Mrs. Jones, right? And now
Classic.
that that's that's two men
Hmm.
outside a booth, right?
Yep.
Talking about a man and woman meeting at the same place. You know the
Yep.
lyrics, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the visual, when I heard that story, I think it was on Unsung Hero,
Hmm.
Unsung, and
Yep.
so they talk about it how he's writing that song, but he's watching the couple and their affair, their love affair, and he's writing it.
Yep.
Me and Mrs. Jones, and
Hmm.
it's crazy
Yeah.
because I got a good visual of it. Once he gave the meaning of the song and why it was
Mhm.
written and where it was written, I
Yep.
said, "Damn, man, that's deep." So
So your poetry already reflects your ability to write a song. You just need to find the melody or the structure
mhm,
to give it a flow so other people can not only listen to it but feel and hear what you're saying.
yes, yeah, I get you. Yeah, I'm definitely I got to do that by the end of the year. It's something I want to do. So I'll be working on that.
Make sure
Um,
and make sure you let me know when it's done. I'd love to
I
hear it.
will. I sure will. I sure
Love to hear
will.
it.
Um, what's your next project, man?
All right. So what I'm working on right now is I'm working on a project with the Funky Bunch. They're
Mm,
basically going to be releasing an album. I'm hoping it's going to be out by March or April, whatever. Dude, the album is going to be crazy. They got crazy people on this album. Like I can't really
I
for
get it.
for all intents and purposes for the protection of this album and my life. I can't really mention who's on it, who's going to be
Yeah,
on it. Dude, it is crazy. It
yeah,
is, and Scott and Hector, they're doing this the right way. Scott's got a whole plan. Scott Ross is he's a crazy visionary.
it
I don't even
sure
know
is.
how he puts stuff in his head. Like there's one track that we're working on. He's already working the whole treatment for the video, and it's amazing. It's
Hmm.
amazing. So I'm so excited to be a part of this project. So we're working on the album. I have a couple of remixes that I did for some previous tracks that they put out, and then we have I think about 4 or 5 original songs that I'm doing with them, and they have some other producers on the album as well. But Scott and Hector, they're putting in work on this. I'm super excited to be a part of it because I've been reaching out to him here and there, and I was like, dude, we got to do a track together. I just want to do one track. Just let me do one track. And now I got like close to 7. I'm working on all this stuff with Brent Tavares and Brandon Tavares. They're helping to write, sing vocals on it. Scott's on it. The special guests are on it.
And
Um, so it's a super fun project. I'm proud of the work that we're doing with them, and I'm looking forward to that coming out and just letting people hear it because it's been a while. It's been
I
a while,
can't wait.
so it's
I
gonna be
can't
good.
wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be
No,
good.
just all those names. They're all right here in my heart. So to for them to collaborate and get things done,
Yeah.
uh, it's going to be probably one of my favorites. So the one thing I want to do is ask you a question that I ask all my guests. Daryl Lopes, aka the DL, who would you like to see on the Really Charlie podcast?
All right. So I think my video froze. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay. Good. All right. So who I really want to see on your podcast, I really want to jump back to who was doing music back in the day here in New Bedford and all that other stuff. So I want to see. Okay, you got a pen because it's gonna be a long list. Scott
I
Ross,
got it. Yep.
Scott Ross, Hector Barros. Who else do I want? Jeff Barros, um, Danielle Andrews, and Monique Peoples, Mark Buddha Pyers,
Hmm.
a guy that would be good to be on here, I think. Do you know Rob Leonardo?
Sounds familiar.
So he's a drummer. All
Yep.
right. He had a recording studio in the south end of New Bedford on Aquidneck Street in his house back in the day. That was the first studio I've ever went to. It wasn't like this major setup, but it was a crazy, it just I could go someplace and record stuff.
Yeah.
So I ended up working with him for a while. We actually did Jeff Barros' project. He had a group called The Rhythm, and he and I produced some of the songs that they had, a couple of songs. But I've worked with him for years in his recording studio. But this guy then turned in that studio gig into drumming for like Cape Verdean artists. So he was
Mhm.
traveling the world, touring with Cape Verdean artists as their drummer.
Wow.
Like learn to speak the language and everything. And like there's all these artists, Cape Verdean culture, and he just fit right in and whatever. But Robert Leonardo, amazing drummer, and has that connection to our Cape Verdean culture just by music,
I will.
which is amazing.
Is he still
Um,
local? He's still in the area?
I think he's still in the area. I think he still lives in New Bedford. I talked to him not too long ago, really briefly, but he was coming back from Cape Verde. I think he's back now.
Hmm.
I'm gonna see if I can reach out to him and get you his contact info, because I think that would be really, really great to talk about his
Yeah.
experience playing for Cape Verdean artists. Like, I
Okay.
mean, all over the world, like all over
Yeah.
the world. I think sometimes because we're so local here in New Bedford, we know that we're Cape Verdean, we have that appreciation for Cape Verdean culture, but I don't know if we necessarily really understand or appreciate how Cape Verdean culture has impacted the world
Hmm.
musically. And he might be able to provide some really good insight on that. So I think you'd have a great interview with him.
I sure will. They talk about the Cape Verdeans going to Holland and the
Yeah.
music in that area and
Yeah.
doing. Uh, I'm leaving a text message here for Jeff to give me a call when he has a chance.
Mhm.
Um, because I don't want to forget him. Like to set him up for next week.
Yep.
Um, so there was a lot of migration to Holland just so they can get the music out, and
Yep.
so it's interesting that you had um, mentioned all that. I think that you definitely inspired me to do something a little bit deeper, and a lot of times I'm just you know trying to get guests on here, but I need to focus a little bit more on this music part,
Mhm.
only because I hear these stories and I'm like, I want to hear some more. People want to hear some more
Yep.
because there's a young group out there. There's artists that have been on this podcast right now trying to get things out there, and
Yep.
they're pushing and working full-time job and then trying to get some material out there so people can listen to. And there's so
Mhm.
many of them here in New Bedford.
Yep.
I wish we would have just a New Bedford concert downtown, with
That would
everybody doing their
that would
thing.
be crazy. That would be crazy.
Sure would.
You
So
know. But also, I think, you know what? I think at some point in time, you need to have somebody interview you. I mean, like former New Bedford police officer, poetry writer, just author, just political pundit,
mhm.
community activist, community advocate. Dude, I'm like, look,
Thank
I'm
you.
looking at this stuff. I mean, like, I literally feel like I came like from a different planet to find out about, WMB1. I'm like, wait a minute,
Mhm.
we got a radio station? What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nuts
The
to me.
That's another,
No.
thanks to um, Brian Magnet, B Mags, and Margarita Graham.
Mhm.
They're actually done something. It's right there on Union Street, 262
Yep.
Union Street,
Yep.
and they every year they seem to level up. They seem to
Mhm.
add more to something that's already great, and they're
Yeah.
adding to it. And one of the things they talked about was having a sound room upstairs and doing,
Mhm.
and where people can come in and basically do their thing
Yeah.
and kind of get their craft off the air. But you know, uh, yeah, thanks to both of them. So
Yeah.
the all right, I'm gonna have this on YouTube, LinkedIn,
Appreciate you.
Facebook, and
Yep.
I'm gonna for some reason it go on your page. So what I'm gonna do is send it to your messenger, and then that way you have it, or just go on my page. But I
Okay.
know you said you're not a social media.
No, I had no idea what I was doing. Everybody said, "You got your social media up?" And I'm like, well, I just put it on Spotify and Apple Music. Is that all?
Anything you have, just please share with me. Um, let's try something here. Daryl, if you can hear me, just go on and off to try to come back on. Hello, it's ABS CBN World. What's that? Wonderville. I love it. All right,
All right.
Daryl, I see you now. What's up,
Okay.
man?
What's up, Charlie? How you doing?
I all right. The let's let's keep in touch.
I said
Anything
yes.
you have, please get it to me, forward it to me.
No, I'll definitely do that.
Um,
I'll
did
definitely
did
do
I
that.
share my number with you at all?
No, give me your number.
All right. All right, I'll text that to you and through Messenger. That way you'll have it. And anything, please, please, just get in touch with me, and I'm gonna be looking for that new project you're working on. That's gonna be amazing. So
As soon as it's out, I'm gonna let you know.
all right, everyone, Daryl Lopes, my man, my friend, the dude has been doing amazing things for at least 3-4 decades, man, and
Something like that. Something
yeah,
like that.
and and he still looks 25, man. So this guy is awesome. Keep following it.
Watch out for the gray.
Yeah, that's all right. Gray's good. Gray's good. I love it. I got plenty of them. It doesn't come up here though. It stays off the top of the head for some reason, but it's all over my face, man. Thank you. You've been amazing. You made this podcast beautiful. And
Charlie, thank you, bro. I appreciate you so much, man. So much. And at some point in time, we're gonna have to switch this up, and I'm gonna have to interview you because
I'll be ready.
You're doing things, bro. You're doing things.
Thank you. God bless. That means a lot. All right, man. Thank you. And I'm gonna end this podcast with my favorite song by Lionel Peter Walker, who's doing amazing things, and he did this little intro and expo for me, and I like everything about this song. But you know what? YouTube, Facebook, they keep telling me I'm copyrighting something. I'm like, this is my dude. What are you talking about? It's him. Oh my God! Hey, we got some comments here, man, that I missed. Hold on, we can't end this right now. And Nathan Victor, he's just sliding through. I heard Jeff Barrow's name, and what's it say? I just think that random knowledge that he possesses. What is that?
The Raiders.
The Raiders. All right. I got it. Donald Tavares saying, "What's up, Daryl? Good man." Yes.
Donald, how you doing, bro?
I agree, Donald. I agree. Got Reggie Victor up here.
Reggie,
what's up? It's been a long night. Slick Rick. Got my boy Michael Smale, my man. Slick Reggie turned. Reggie's on the other side, man. He's what, 60 now, man. And hey, I had this roast for, speaking of, let me real quick.
Go ahead.
I had this roast for Reggie, and oh my God, it would have been funny. And I didn't make it to his party, and I had some car problems, but I was ready to roast this dude. I got to put it on video.
Do it now. Give us one. Give us one. Give us a roast.
I can't. This is. It's too long, but it's perfect for him. I portrayed Reggie as a cop. Oh, it's so funny. Oh my God. Yeah. Yep. So, but I got to put it on video, and then I'll put it out there. But it's got to be right. Daryl, you're the man. Call me anytime, and I'm gonna try to hook up with Jeff tonight so we can arrange it for next Tuesday that he can be on the Really Charlie podcast.
Awesome. Charlie, again, thank you very, very much, sir. I appreciate you.
God bless you, and you need me for anything, don't hesitate.
I won't. I take that seriously. Thank you, sir.
Yep, back at you. All right, y'all. The Really Charlie podcast. My man, Daryl Lopes, and we will see you next Tuesday. See you next Tuesday, same time. And also don't forget about Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time with Fentanyl Facts and Stories. And Sunday night, I'm on with Frequency Live with Berto Carter, Jasmine Vasconcelos, Derek Demers, and who am I? Edmund Ray. We are definitely doing our thing on Sunday nights on WNB1 Radio.
Edmund Ray?
Edmund Ray is doing some producing. Yeah,
he's doing stuff. He don't tell me nothing. He don't tell me
Sunday.
Nothing.
Every Sunday. Frequency Live, radio and Facebook Live.
Frequency Live, Sundays.
Yep. That's it. We start at 7.
7 o'clock.
So 7 o'clock. All right.
Frequency Live.
All right, man. Take it easy. Have fun. God bless.
Thanks, Charlie.
All right, brother.
It's the Really Charlie podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie podcast. Bumping through your broadcast. Grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie podcast. Bumping through your broadcast. Grab a chair, fill your glass.